Hey guys, here we go into a video on Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell. And I actually want to call it Luke Campbell versus Ryan Garcia because I actually don't think that this is a great fight for Ryan Garcia. I think it's too early in his career to actually be fighting somebody from the of the caliber of fighter that Luke Campbell is. Now, before we get into the film, I just want to talk about. I got them playing and the relevant clips that I wanted to talk about. And if you want to look at the clips, pay attention to their active guard, how each one looks to set punches up, and then how each one of them's controlling the space between them and their opponent. And then I want you to look at also this last clip here, of him throwing this trap right here. And I want you to pay attention to the other traps that he tries to set and how similar they are to the ones. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about is I think that this is a big misstep from Ryan Garcia. I know he's been complaining about Oscar De La Hoya and their handling of him. And, it's interesting because now that he's in the Canelo camp, right, all of those complaints are starting to come through. And, I know that Canelo and the Reynosos have much, much more experience than Ryan Garcia. But I'm not sure that Ryan Garcia is at the level that the Reynosos think he is, right? If they're putting all these ideas in his head. And the interpretation that I have of what's going on with Golden Boy and Reynoso, or Golden Boy and Ryan Garcia desperately wants to be seen as the fighter that all of those 14-year-old girls on Instagram think he is. When he has all these people in his corner telling him, oh, you could be great, you could be this, you're this. And he has all this popularity. But he doesn't realize that as soon as people find out that he isn't the real deal, if he's not, right? And we'll talk about it. I don't believe in that idea too, to be honest. I think that you can always get better as a fighter. Just look at Luke Campbell and his losses, right? He's grown tremendously since then to being able to have a very competitive and tough fight with Vasily Lomachenko, arguably pound for pound best fighter ever, right? Very, very talented, very, very, very well-schooled fighter. Ryan Garcia just doesn't have anything on his pedigree, right? Or any opponents on his list, right? His resume that are even close to that of Vasily Lomachenko, let alone somebody like Luke Campbell. So it's interesting to see Ryan Garcia complaining about wanting to be seen as this giant boxing star, but having never proved himself, right? Thinking about it only in a sense of the monetary gain, right? Comparing himself to fighters like Shakur Stevenson, who apparently, got $700K for his last fight. And then Ryan Garcia is complaining about, getting paid $200K to fight a bum, and desperately wanting to be able to fight for a title. So it's interesting to see Golden Boy simultaneously stepping up to Ryan Garcia and backing down at the same time. And my interpretation of that is that Ryan Garcia wants to be seen as the person that those 14-year-old girls on Instagram see him as. And so he's fighting for his opportunity to get paid more, to be the star that he wants to be. But Golden Boy recognizes that he's not ready. So they want to protect him and allow him to grow and develop. But Ryan Garcia thinks he's done developing. So what happens is Oscar De La Hoya says, okay, well, if you are ready, if you are who you think you are, we're going to give you Luke Campbell. And if you win, that's going to put you into the position to be fighting for the title and making the kind of money and gaining the popularity that you want. Now, conversely, if Oscar De La Hoya is right, then this is only going to prove his point, right? So it's kind of a gamble on both sides, because if Ryan Garcia does win, then it gets to say to Oscar De La Hoya, see, I told you I was ready. But when he loses, if he loses, then it's going to be Oscar De La Hoya saying, see, you weren't ready. You weren't everything that those 14-year-old girls thought you were. And that's going to be a very, very, very harsh reality check for Ryan Garcia, as I don't think he's ready. Now, I did want to include the clip about Reynoso, we'll go ahead and take a look here as we get into the film. His knockout of Fonseca here, right? Notice the position that he's in. He's on the front foot. He's baiting an attack to this position so that when his opponent crosses the line and opens himself up, he can recross that line, boom, and throw his left hook. Now, this is a very, very, very basic trap, okay? Very basic. And it doesn't usually work against someone who can feint and probe against you. And we're going to take a look at his opponent here as Ryan Garcia tries to do the same thing, right? So take a look at these clips here. His opponent feinting him, and baiting that left hook here, right? And this guy is not a very high-level opponent from Ryan Garcia. I think his name is Noe Martinez. But coming out ahead in these exchanges with him, boom, because Ryan Garcia doesn't really set his punches up super well. He primarily tries to fight from traps, as you can see here, trying to use this same exact trap against Martinez here, a southpaw that he used against Fonseca, right? Hoping that Martinez is going to see this position as weak for Ryan Garcia and throw a straight right hand, which will actually walk him directly into Ryan Garcia's left hook, his money punch. Now, the problem is he doesn't know how to get to this position here on the front foot with feints and probes and putting himself in that position other than just standing here, as you can see in the idea of it being a trap. Okay, this is going to be a big, big, big problem for him when he looks to start mounting offense against someone like Luke Campbell. Now, this clip here, it kind of got cut off, but I wanted to show that actual clip here. This is Ryan Garcia's idea of a probe. So he's going to control the space with this shot here and then just throw that right hand out there. But look at how slow that is, right? He's not really probing. I mean, he gets him out of position and lands a shot, but it's not super dynamic, right? It's not going to be the kind of attack or setup that he's going to be able to use against someone who's as good at controlling the space and feinting and probing as Luke Campbell. But that's one of the best examples of that type of strategy from Ryan Garcia in that first clip there. But as you can see in most of his clips, he's not controlling the space. He doesn't have his lead hand out there. And when he gets on the line, he either gets attacked or he attacks and then gets countered. And you can see this guy, Martinez, is just landing punches over and over and over against Ryan Garcia. And also, the lack of control that Ryan Garcia has over the space between him and his opponent, he's attempting to control here with his lead hand, but because he's not able to control that lead hand very well, he constantly finds himself in positions where he's being controlled by his opponent, and his opponent can set shots up. As you can see in this clip here, not this one, in this one, control, and he gets into his high guard. Control, he gets into his high guard. Control, puts him in the high guard, and he knows that because Ryan Garcia is not countering, and Ryan Garcia is also not on the front foot, he's not in a position to throw his left hook or set a trap here, he's not able to counter and take advantage of the fact that Martinez is crossing the line. Now, again, bad trap setting, right? Even when he's setting a trap here, he's still almost getting feinted and attacked and hit in his own trap, in his own, most effective style of offense. But as you can see, this is a position that Ryan Garcia looks to get into throughout the fight to land his left hand. But he's not able to do this dynamically against his opponent, right? During the fight, right? He has to move off the line and allow his opponent to close the distance and hope that he doesn't feint, probe, or push him out of this position before exposing himself to the left hook. Now, if we take conversely a look, and I'll keep playing the Ryan Garcia clips. Conversely, if we take a look at the Luke Campbell clips, Luke Campbell does an excellent job of controlling the lead hand of his opponent, right? Keeping him on the back foot and not allowing him to come in and cross the line. Now, this clip here shows his opponent, Mr. Young, trying to get to the front foot and to the outside of Campbell's lead hand. If he can get to the outside of the lead hand and get, quote-unquote, lead foot dominance and the positional advantage, he can recross the line and throw his left hook. However, Luke Campbell is able to control him and blast him with the right hand right there. A very, very, very important idea, because this is the position that Ryan Garcia is most likely to want to put himself in order to land his left hand. Now, this is also a technique that Ryan Garcia is not very good at doing. He's not very good at getting onto the front foot dynamically around his opponent's lead hand. He's not very good at slipping around those punches, right, with the peekaboo style, or being able to get around that first contact point or that first part of control with head movement. Usually he likes to feint his opponents with a really, really fast and flashy punch and then blast them with either a follow-up right hand or left hook. However, he's going to need to be able to get around the lead hand and stop Luke Campbell from being able to control that space by getting around it and then move into positions to attack. However, Luke Campbell showing that he's very experienced and doesn't need to compromise his line with his lead hand control and still maintains fluidity by using his lead hand and not compromising his body mechanics to still be able to land power shots like that as his opponent crosses the line. Now, we're going to see Luke Campbell do this to Mr. Young over and over and over again. But what I want to point out here is that as Mr. Young comes forward, very much how I anticipate Ryan Garcia coming forward, he's able to pull counter him and throw many, many attacks and follow his weight back and counter him. As you can see, he comes forward and eats that shot and then almost eats that right hook as well, as Luke Campbell is able to move on and off the line with him while controlling the space, constantly moving off the line and then into punches here. And I just don't think that Ryan Garcia is going to have the capability to use attacks, feints, and probes to push Luke Campbell off of his line and then attack him. As you can see, Mr. Young is having a very difficult time getting Luke Campbell out of position, even though he is using lead hand control. He is using these head probes, these feints, and crossing the line with his head. He's still having a very difficult time pinning Luke Campbell's head down and finding a way to land attacks. And Luke Campbell, however, doing a great job of being able to move off those lines and into punches like this. This is an excellent representation of exactly how I anticipate the fight with Ryan Garcia going. As Ryan Garcia will struggle to get to that front foot, struggle to get control of the lead hand, and struggle to get into position one and be able to attack Ryan Garcia. And then when Ryan Garcia finds himself not able to and moving back on the line, I see Luke Campbell being able to find openings and make them count. Really, really dominate kind of Ryan Garcia on the line. And mostly due to the fact that I don't think that Ryan Garcia is going to be able to keep up with the lead hand control, the feinting and probing of Luke Campbell, as Luke Campbell is able to get Mr. Young, Adrian Young, into nearly any position he wants throughout the course of this fight and constantly follow up with counters as Adrian Young looks to attack the line. Now, I kept this one in here. Boom. This is something that I think that Luke Campbell is going to be subject to or suspect to in the Ryan Garcia fight. Getting on the ropes and body shots. I think the left hand to the body is really going to be Ryan Garcia's money punch here because of the fact that you can throw the left hook to the body from a neutral position. Because of the fact that Ryan Garcia is not very good at getting all the way on the front foot and changing positions, I think that he needs to focus on the left hook to the body rather than the left hook to the head, just because he's not as good in those positional changes. But however, I don't think that Ryan Garcia is going to be able to put enough pressure on Luke Campbell that Luke Campbell's not going to be able to control that lead hand, and move off the line and constantly control and push him off the line. I just don't see Ryan Garcia being dynamic enough with his ability to change positions to really put Luke Campbell in a position where he can land not only the left hook, but knock him out with it as well. Because I don't know actually how great Ryan Garcia's right hand is because his left hook is the one that he usually does all his damage with. So I'm not going to be putting a lot of stock into that, into the idea that he's going to beat him with the right hand. So anyway, in conclusion, I just think that this is too big of a step for Ryan Garcia, especially since this Adrian Young fight was so much easier than Luke Campbell's last fight against Vasily Lomachenko, in which he was really able to put these control skills together, really put these abilities together against a fighter who can really fight. And I think that that's going to be a massive advantage for Luke Campbell, as I really just don't think, even with all the sparring Ryan Garcia may get with Canelo Alvarez, I really don't think that Ryan Garcia is going to be getting the kind of pedigree or the kind of sparring that he needs to learn how to set up his shots, control the space, and put Luke Campbell into the positions and himself into the positions to land that money left hook. But yeah, anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And for those of you that are interested in learning about positions, learning about controlling the lead hand, learning about how to get into these positions and push your opponents off their line to set up your own punches, check out my Patreon. It's $20 to sign up, $20 a month, and you guys can send in personalized your own shadow boxing videos, your own heavy bag videos, your own double end bag videos, and any other training equipment or any other training ideas that you have. And I can help you work on not only your technique, but your actual ring IQ, and teach you with your own film and your own sparring, if you have sparring film, as well as other people's sparring, teach you guys the art of fighting and how to really kind of learn how to fight in the ring. But anyway, as vague as that is, thank you for watching my video, and thanks, guys.